There's a lot of marketing lore out there. One of the most famous ones is this idea that any customer needs to interact with you about 7 times before they purchase from you. But I don't know if it's true. Like, what type of interaction are you talking about? And is it exactly 7 times? You might have put out 7 ads or 7 blog posts and it's not made a dent or improved your conversion rates at all. So how can this be true? Let's explore this and find out if it is. I'm Irshad Aziz, co-founder of Dropkick Copy. We are direct response marketers. Our oversight translates well to all levels of the funnel, and we've touched all levels of the funnel, but it's the bottom of the funnel where email and chat exist that interests us the most. You can check out my business partner interview some of our previous clients. The link to that is in the description below, but first watch the rest of this video. So what is a touch point even? What is a touch point even? I'm going to put up a graphic. You're going to see a bunch of touch points, but before we do that, a touch point is anything that moves a lead further along on their buyer's journey. So if you look at this graphic, you're going to see touch points like ads, blog posts are touch points. Even meeting a retail store clerk is a touch point. Signage is a touch point in my opinion. These are all touch points. These are things that get people familiar with your brand and move them closer towards making a purchase. All right. And what is a buyer's journey? A buyer's journey is basically steps towards making the purchase. I simplified to 7 steps. There's the discovery phase, then there's the research phase, then there's the comparison phase. Then there's this kind of pre-purchase review kind of phase. Then they actually make the purchase. Purchase is its own step. Then there's post-purchase experience, and then there's the retention and loyalty part. That is the complete buyer's journey, more or less, for all products. All right. I'll give you an example of me going through a buyer's journey. So recently I bought a pair of shoes, but it's not that I just bought the shoes. There was a lot of steps involved in me deciding to buy those particular pairs of shoes. It starts with just being in general aware, self-aware enough to know that I need shoes and having conversations with people about what shoes are good, getting their opinions on what they think is good. Then I might be going through a mall and paying attention to signage and noticing where the stores are. Right? So it starts there. And then maybe my curiosity is piqued a bit. I'm like, I've seen all the signs, I've heard a lot about these shoes. There's a couple of stores I want to check out. Then I start going inside a store. So first, signage is a touch point. The second touch point would be actually visiting the store for the first time and checking it out. Is it really what it is? Is it really good? I'll check it out, right? But I might not be ready to buy. Later on, when I'm ready to buy, I'll have some particular idea what type of shoe I want. I'll be looking online and comparing things and seeing who has the type of shoe I want. Oh, it's that brand I went to the store and saw. So I'll be recalling the signage and recalling the store visits I've had in the past. Brand recognition comes into play. I'll be comparing a bunch of shoe options online. So online becomes a touch point. Then, once I've figured out what I'm looking for exactly, I might say, okay, I'm interested in this shoe, but what is it like to maintain it? How does it fit into my lifestyle? How do I wear it? I'll be looking at Pinterest. I'll be looking at UGC content. I'll be looking at blog post reviews. So those types of things become a touch point. Once I'm convinced, I'll be like, where is it available? The closest spot to me, where is it available? So I'll go there and I will try it on to see if it really works for me. Does it do what it says on the tin? I'll try it out. So the second in-store visit is another touch point. So look at this buyer's journey. Once I'm convinced that this is the shoes I want to buy, I'll buy it. There's been about 5 or 6 touch points in this process. That's how a buyer's journey works. But there could be more than 5 or 6 depending on how many times you've encountered the brand. So it's hard to say if 7 is the exact number. So in researching this, what becomes apparent is that it depends on the level you're at in the buyer's journey as well as how qualified you are, how qualified the customer is. For example, this shoe I'm talking about was like a low value product, less than $100. The studies show that a low value product should require around 3 to 7 touch points before I buy. And that's true, isn't it? It took about 5 or 6 steps for me to buy, 5 or 6 interactions for me to buy, isn't it? So that is true. But the studies also show that as the price increases, the touch points increases. So it's like if you're looking at a $1,000 product, you might need 10 to 15 touch points. If you're looking at a $10,000 product, you're entering the luxury level of products. You might need 20 touch points. Why? Because the sales cycle is longer. Might need to speak to more people, speak to other decision makers, do more paperwork, review compliance and stuff. Who knows? There's more touch points involved in a more expensive product. Likewise, it also depends on how warm or cold I am. If I'm completely cold traffic, I don't know what's going on, I'm not even aware of your brand. I might need to interact with your brand in 20 different ways before I ever go all the way down to the funnel and get to the purchase point. If I'm a little bit warmer, it might take 10 to 15 touch points. If I'm super qualified already, I'm in the market to buy, I know about your product and I'm right there, it could take 3 to 7 touch points to finalize the deal. If I'm a person who's bought from you before, I'm already pre-qualified, it could take as little as 2 to 3 touch points. Here's the new product, I'm aware of it, try it, look at it, okay, ready to buy, I trust your brand, I'm ready, it's done. That's how easy it is. So what do we take away from this? Is this rule of thumb worth even considering? I think yes, to a degree. More or less, super qualified people will move within 3 to 7 touch points, and on cheap products, it's around the same. So it's more or less true, but really it's going to depend a lot on the buyer's journey. You can't be structuring your plans around it though. You got to just know that you need a lot of touch points for every single stage of the buyer's journey, that's all. 7 is a minimum, so it's like have 7 touch points per stage of the journey. Here's some interesting things you can do with this number 7 though. We don't have to throw this rule out completely. Let me explain. So that piece of law is not really useful to us. What we need is marketing tactics, right? So I would reframe it or rewrite the rule and just call it a 7 or more rule of thumb. And I'd use it in 4 different ways. The first one is, I'd say there's 7 channels I need to be uploading to every week. I need content on YouTube, I need content on TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Pinterest or email. So therein is a tactic, 7 different pieces of content on 7 channels, maybe 7 days a week, this type of thing. That's creating touch points, that's working in our favor. So that way the rule of 7 is useful as a tactic. Another simple thing you can do is, I don't know if you remember, but the way I described the buyer's journey, I described it in 7 stages. You could define your buyer's journey in 7 stages and then have touch points for each stage. It's the touch points for the discovery stage where they're unaware, they don't even know they have a problem. Touch points for the research stage where they've discovered they have a problem and they're researching how to solve it. Touch points for the comparison stage when they want to compare your solution with somebody else's. Touch points for the pre-purchase intent stage when they're really hot leads, they're about to buy, but they, their final obstacles they need to get over. The purchase stage is its own touch point. Figure that out. Then there's the post-purchase experience. There's touch points, all that. And then there's the retention part at the end. How do you get them to kind of recommend your product to other people, etc., right? So you want to have something for them in all parts that is contributing towards revenue growth. That's another way to think about it. 7 touch points for the 7 stages of the buyer's journey. The other thing you can do, again, as just marketing rules of thumb, marketing tactics, is like whenever you make something, make it in 7s. So you don't just have 1 PDF, you have 7 PDFs covering 7 different points of view, angles, answering 7 different questions. When you create touch points, create 7 touch points per buyer stage. You could do things like that. You could also make things change every 7 months. Change is necessary so people don't get so familiar with your brand and your presence that they block you out and tune you out. That's a real thing. So you need to be constantly changing font types, colors, blah blah blah, whatever it is. Just to remind you to change, set some sort of rule where every 7 months we're changing something about how we're putting this offer out there, how we're putting our messaging out there. And lastly, I think this is super powerful. Why can't you have a rule of thumb that says you reach out to 7 people directly every month? You as a marketing team, you as a marketing department, or you as the business owner, you directly reach out to people. 7 people. 7 people who follow your brand, 7 people on your email list, whatever it is, email them personally. And have a conversation with them. Why not? It allows you to gather data, get feedback, get knowledge about where your customer is at, where they are in their buyer's journey. So many things you can derive from actually having a conversation. It's just we don't do that because we don't have time. We're trying to automate our marketing as much as possible, right? I'm saying pick 7 people, reach out to them directly, create some excuse to do it. You know, create that. It's like creating a personal touch. Create 7 moments, personal moments between you and your customer. Why can't you do that? And I think that's super impactful, super powerful, and that's gonna just overall help you in so many different ways. It could have just higher order effects. You could refine your offer later on just based on some conversations. Right? You get it? So I think rather than walking around with this, marketing law rule that you need 7 touch points in your mind, you don't that rule doesn't help you. Rather than focus on that rule, let's put it into practice. Let's have some tactics going. So these 4, maybe they're useful to you. I think they're super useful. They could actually have a real impact on your bottom line. You know what I mean? That's it. Just a heads up before I leave, I'm going to be putting out other videos about selling products online, how to sell more products. You might be selling products now, but how do you sell more? Selling more means you got to refine certain things, and that's what I'm trying to solve for. So check out those videos. I might link them at the end of this video. Other than that, stay safe, stay well, take it easy.